What's up everyone, I'm Jessekazam. Welcome back to another Escape From Tarkov video. This is another episode in our Lessons from Beyond the Grave series where we take a look at some clips from my stream where I died in a firefight and we talk about what happened there. We try to get the bigger story, figure out what went well and what were some of the decisions that led me to ultimately ending up dying and what we can pull from that clip and apply to future situations to get better as a player. I'm a huge proponent of, at least for me, the fact that watching my own gameplay back, and you can do that whether you're a streamer or not, is one of the best ways to get better because it gives you more information and it helps you figure out what went well and what didn't go well. I've got a few videos that are talking about why I think that's so important and how much it's helped me. Definitely go check those out. But that's what we're doing here today. I stream Escape From Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. Would love to have you stop by and say hey. And then we've also got a pretty awesome Discord where you can ask questions, get help from quests, or just hang out and find some people to raid with if you want to get some good raids in. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is a bit of a longer clip, so bear with me through that. But I wanted to kind of give you guys the whole story of what happened here. So as always, we just watch the clip in its entirety, and then we go back and we talk about what happened. The setup here is, it's labs, it's PvP. I'm trying to get into a good fight. I'm trying to balance the chat and the rat, right? I'm trying to figure out when and where I can get audio cues. There's a fight happening. This isn't me stalking one player. There's a huge firefight going on. There's multiple people firing. And so I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach this and get in there. So that is kind of what's happening here. So let's go ahead and play the clip. Well, trying to put on our Chad pants. No way he was all the way under. What? Now I think he's in the staircase. Oh God. We just traded places. Oh, geez, Rick. Oof. So after all that, we died in that fight. That was a rough one. And that's one of those things where I know that was a longer clip, but I wanted you guys to see basically how that whole thing unfolded. So we had actually come up the stairs to get up onto this floor because we heard the fighting going on up here. And then we ended up, we popped the Propital and we pushed down because we hear them. We hear shots down here and nades down here. So like, okay, they're down here on the first floor. And then we hear the elevator go off. And that's when I kind of stop and I'm starting to try and figure out what happened because the audio is constantly, you know what I mean? We're super excited for Steam audio, but the audio is constantly kind of tricking us. So I was like, wait, did somebody from that fight hit the elevator? Now, most likely because, right, we end up seeing a bunch of bodies. We end up seeing all sorts of stuff. So it's very likely that one of the players did break away, go downstairs and call the elevator. Or it was just a completely different team downstairs trying to spawn in some raiders. But we are trying to figure out the best way to approach this fight. And, we don't want to just rush in. Like I said, we're trying to find the mixture between the chat and the rat. Now that we're down here on this floor, we've completely traded places. We knew they were downstairs, so we came down here, and now we hear him running up this staircase here. I wasn't at the time completely confident that it wasn't this metal here or just the audio. So I kind of am slowing down. I'm waiting for him to make moves. And we end up figuring out, okay, that is the staircase. This is clear at least. So let's try and go make a move. We clear behind us and we see the muzzle flashes through the floor, which like confirms for us that he's upstairs, and it confirms that there's still more people in this fight, which is scary because I've heard so many gunshots at this point. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we see those muzzle flashes there. And the thought here is to basically use the muzzle flashes and the fight that's happening to cover my audio. So opening doors is something that if you are trying to do sneakily and somebody catches you, that's a way to get caught and killed immediately. But we kind of try to use the audio to cover it up. And even I, standing right next to the door, didn't hear the audio there. So I was like, cool, we have a really good situation here. And then this guy, we know there's fighting, we know there's bodies, we know all sorts of stuff is happening. And I open the door and see that. And at first glance, when I'm just paused on it right here, you're like, that's obviously a dead body. But when we open that door, that looks like somebody I need to shoot. And at that point, just those two shots, I know that this guy now knows that there's somebody he wasn't aware of in the fight. After all that sneaking around, after all that trying to find the optimal angle to enter this fight, I ADS on this and I know he's dead. So I heard the snares. I wasn't sure where he was. We start to push in and see. When I see him here, these shots are not me trying to kill him. Of course, if I get a lucky shot, but these are suppression shots. I want to keep him away from the edge of the staircase while I exit through here. He was still able to get an arm shot on me. We kind of think about re-peeking it. We see the nade and we realize that that is a terrible idea. Now, this is one of the times where a lot of my fights and a lot of my deaths in my Escape from Tarkov history, I die re-peeking. We think about re-peeking, the nade throws off there, and in a split-second decision, I'm trying to trust my gut more often. We say, okay, re-flank, right? We were up top, we heard the fight, down, we moved down, now he's up top, we use the door to mask, we engage with the guy through the staircase, and I'm like, okay, re-flank, go back out and go up from a different angle and see what happens. This is one of those times where I'm always worried about audio. There's just something about the audio in Escape from Tarkov that terrifies me. I'm just always highly aware of the audio I make. And I always feel like when I have cool ideas, when I have ideas for cool plays or cool flanks or anything, I always doubt it. Like even right here, I slow down a little bit and I tell myself, no, you have to keep charging. After all that farting around and running and all the audio that I make, after all my steps, we start to hear some nades. And I realized that those nades are downstairs. He's throwing nades downstairs. He doesn't know that I'm upstairs. So I'm starting to think that actually my play is working. And then I even start stepping on metal. I'm not crouch walking. I'm not anything. All of these things internally, I was like, man, he hears you. He knows all this stuff. And we find out that he really had no idea where I was and that I had successfully made this flank. And I was in a really good spot. And then we even hear him start a heal. So what happens from here on out is just heartbreaking because, and the kind of theme for this one is staying calm in really long fights. So at this point, man, this is a few minutes in, we've only seen each other one time, but we both know they're there. I obviously hit him because he's hurt. But what happened was I used the audio cue of him healing. I thought that meant he was down and around this corner out there and he started a heal. So you see me hook right really fast, but then see him walk into the staircase and go back for shots. And that's when my decision making starts to fall apart for a few reasons. One, because he's not where I thought he was, and that, you know what I mean? It kind of just dislodged my thought process and I start to break down. And two, this railing really just kind of ruins the party. So we'll watch just the beginning of this fight. Right there, I turn and I start to run downstairs, and then that doesn't work. And then 2 times right there, the railing pushed our gun to the side. We can see he's got 2 SA-58s that are pretty meta and a raid backpack. That's a detail I didn't really take the time to notice. At this point, I just start freaking out in the sense that I've spent so much time on you. You're still healing. I will find you and I will kill you. Like I just push. I just like, that's the only thing I think about, which isn't necessarily the wrong play, but we're going to watch this back a little bit and I'll slow it down. So we see that I'm waiting for this guy to do something. He pops the heal. And once again, we can see that I immediately snap to go find him. And then 1, 2 times, my gun pushes to the left. So now that gives him time to turn around. My point fire is really off. And this is when, like I said, things start to kind of break down. I could have ADS'd here because his back was to me. I wasn't going to lose anything. I wasn't going to lose any momentum. Or I could have stopped shooting here and pushed and actually gotten closer to him while he popped the heal. But because I kept point firing, I was basically just shooting his legs. And that was not very helpful. The point fire there did not work at all for me. I was so dislodged by the fact that the gun moved around, and you can see I'm shooting over here. I get him once in the leg. You can see the blood cloud right there. That wasn't a great showing for me. I could have killed him there, but once again, I think the better call would have been to ADS and actually go for the good shots, or start the push faster because I would have caught him before this healing animation ended. Once again, this is where the decision making fall apart. When you go back and hear it, it's clear that he is healing with like an IFAK. I think at the time, I thought that there maybe was a chance he was popping a survival kit or a CMS kit, and that he was going to be in this animation for quite some time. And so I was like, just push. But because of all that time, he started the heal before I started shooting. I started shooting at him up here. The railing got me twice. I was shooting him all the way down here. And then I decided to go for the push. Unfortunately, that's plenty of time for that healing animation to stop. And we see right there, we do get a bit of a stutter, which is super unfortunate timing. For that. So we'll slow that down a little bit, and you can kind of see right about here, we get 2 micro stutters, which sucks. Now he is coming out of this animation and he actually gets a little bit of high ground. So he doesn't have to worry so much about aiming super high for my head right there. If he's if he's aiming what would normally be center of mass, because he's 2 steps up, that's my head, and is able to drop me. But right here, once again, my point fire is not in the right position. So this is just another one of those circumstances where either aiming, having a laser, or or having my point fire high enough. At this point, I know that I need to aim way higher than center of mass, right? The closer they are, the more you have to pull that point fire up. And I kind of just like rotate around the door. I try to pre-fire it. He's coming out of the animation and I'm low. I hit him in the chest. And unfortunately, he gets to back up a little bit and get some height. So this was one of those things where it hurt because I spent so much time stalking this guy and trying to figure out what was going on. There were a few things that really felt like it robbed me of it, right? I got the little micro stutter, the railing. The railing, however, is definitely something you can account for, right? I was standing too close to it. Like that is something, that's how it works in Escape from Tarkov. If you get too close to an object, it pushes your gun away. I totally get that. That was on me, but it was so unexpected and it just jostled me enough to start making bad decisions. My point fire was off. I could have backed off here or thrown a nade through the door, knowing that his healing animation was about to end, but I really wanted this kill. And we got the micro stutter and he got a little bit of the high ground backing up onto these stairs and we couldn't connect and we made it happen. So it was a great fight. I ended up, after like the rage wore off of not being able to connect on the kill, I was immediately like, man, this was a fun fight. You know what I mean? It's cool to see fights that last a long time. I mean, this is Tarkov right here, right? Where we're constantly switching levels. He got into like 2 or 3 fights while I was stalking him. We couldn't make it happen, but hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps kind of identify some issues with long fights. You know what I mean? It's okay to slow down every once in a while, try and find an audio cue, try to cover your tracks with an audio cue and find the best place to enter into a fight. And then on the flip side of that, it's okay to, the longer a fight takes or the longer like a hunt takes, the adrenaline levels start to rise, and then that's when the decision making starts falling off. So keeping calm and just being like, you know what, that railing kind of like totally ruined the vibe here. Maybe I need to re-back off, or I know his healing animation is about to be over. I shouldn't push because he's got a big gun and it only takes a few shots for him to drop me. There's a lot of thoughts I could have had, but my blood was boiling. My adrenaline was high. I really wanted to connect on that kill. So hopefully this helped you. Hopefully this kind of pulled out some things. If you ever get into a situation similar to this, that you can remind yourself to keep calm. As always, I highly encourage you to set up a way to record your own gameplay or even just a replay buffer, so it's only small increments. That way you can do this. But even if you can't, hopefully videos like this help you kind of get into the mind of someone who's constantly trying to refine the craft by learning from my own mistakes, and how this has just constantly helped me become a better player. And hopefully this helps you be more confident as you go into your raids as well. Thanks as always for taking the time to check out this video. If you have any questions about the video, or if there's any videos you'd like to see me make here in the future, drop a comment down below and drop a like on the video if you liked it, and think about subscribing for more Tarkov content like this. I'm always trying to help shorten the learning curve of the game and get you and your raids having fun as soon as possible. Hopefully this series helps and is beneficial for you. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see y'all on the next one.